What is up? What's going on? Tomboy Official, how are we doing today? How's everything going? Happy Saturday. Yeah, hopefully people have fun plans for the weekend. It's the weekend before all the holidays start popping off, and then from here on, we just kind of keep going for the next couple months. Um, but yeah, hopefully people aren't too stressed and strained. Um, if you are, hopefully you have a plan in place to try to get things back on track for yourself. For a lot of people, depending on your schedules and stuff, weekends can be helpful because you're sometimes not obligated to do as much. I am drinking some lukewarm tea right now. It's kind of hard in the mornings to get the tea timing right. It's like I'll make it before breakfast sometimes and drink it and then record while I'm drinking tea, and then it's hot at that time usually unless I wait too long. But then sometimes I'll brew it and then start cooking breakfast, and then by the time I'm ready to actually start eating, I'll usually eat my food first, and then by the time I get around to the tea, it's already kind of lukewarm. Um, but I did have a couple sips of it before it got to the lukewarm stage. Um, but it's pretty good. I have this loose leaf green tea out of, I want to say, Oregon. Um, and it's organic, and that's all that's in the container is loose leaf green tea, sencha tea. Um, and it's pretty delightful. I like it. I put too much honey in it, and I put too much almond milk. I've gotten into a weird little habit in the last couple weeks of putting honey in my tea. I honestly, pretty much for years, decades at this point, have just been drinking tea pretty much plain. But I don't know, I kind of have like a sweet tooth a little bit lately, so I've been trying to add a little bit of sweetness to things in a way that's not hopefully too bad. I've heard, how you hear things where it's like honey's good for you, but then it's like, well, if it's heated, it's not good for you anymore. Like that kind of stuff. So, and it, I don't know, I do have to watch things with sugar, but I don't know. Um, Sometimes I try not to add to problems and add to issues by like adding things that I know I don't need. But I stopped having bulletproof coffee in the morning. I stopped having coffee at all. So I guess there's kind of something to putting a little bit of something into some plain tea. It kind of feels like the process of preparing coffee, even though I could drink coffee black too. But um, I don't know. Like sometimes it's like it's a difference between am I drinking this because I want the beverage, the energy from the beverage, or am I drinking it because I want to sit and like have a flavorful drink. Um, those are kind of two different things for me, I guess. But yeah, been trying to consume a little bit of content and figure out where I'm going with things. I have been going back through hmm, some things I've written. I've gone back through a journal that dates back to like 2016. I have this short story I wrote back in like 2013. Another short story that I wrote probably in like 2011 or something like that. Um, and I found out that Tegan and Sarah, those singers, they have some books out. They're like comic books. It's kind of like a series of like, I guess like middle school, junior high, high school kind of books like that. kind of fun. They're you know, I read manga, so I was like, might as well read some comic books that are, you know, might as well. Like I don't really mind it, you know. I'm like, let's read some queer ladies comic books. Um, but I'm not that far into it yet. I just started, so I'm gonna be reading more of that today. And some more of my old short stories. And I'm not sure if I'm doing any writing today. I kind of felt like it last night, and it was really late, and I was seeing how I felt in the morning. Now that it's morning, I kind of feel fine about the idea of it, but I'm not too sure if I'm really gonna write or read more today. I guess time will tell. We'll have to see. Um, but yeah, going down the regular social route of things. I've been talking to someone online. I mentioned over summer how I was like, I want to get more social, um, locally, even if it's just going places more by myself. Um, so I have been slacking for a while, but there were a couple times I mentioned, like in August for my birthday, when we went up to the Abbey. That was fun. That could have been an opportunity to meet people, but I kind of didn't. Um, and June was kind of fun, during Pride Month. Um, July, I was in San Diego a couple times. So it was a pretty busy summer. Um, and then, you know, this situation with work kind of flopping, that happened in August. And so August, September, October, they've been kind of months with a lot of moving parts to them. Like my schedule and routine is just kind of, like I can't predict exactly what next week or the week after is gonna look like as far as like what my schedule looks like, but I have like a general basic schedule and just kind of work around that, I guess. Um, but yeah, just back to freelancing, which is fine with me. I'm fine with it. I'm fine reporting to myself. That works for me. So doing that. But yeah, you know, kind of talking to someone online that's like okay to talk to so far. Just been kind of like, what are you up to, kind of thing. Um, and trying to get a feel for this lady and see kind of what's going on. I joked with my friends saying like, step one is to, not get ghosted. I mean, if I get ghosted, then we're not even talking. So, you know, I don't think there's anything I'm doing that would get me ghosted, but you know how people are. Um, so I don't know. We just switched from off the app today to texting. She was asking, "Would you rather text?" And I'm like, "Yes, I would rather text." But yeah, that's kind of, I kind of have a feel for how she feels about this time of the end of the year and what she usually gets up to, as far as like she's got some traveling plans. So I don't really know when we're gonna meet, or if we can meet, because I was kind of getting a feel for how I feel by this weekend, and kind of getting a feel for, you know, how her schedule might look. And it's cool that she's wanted to switch over to texting, but I just want to meet her, but I don't want it to be inconvenient. and I'm seeing that she lives, I don't know where she lives, but she lives about 20 miles away. So I'm gonna guess she lives in like downtown area if it's north. Um, but yeah, I don't really know exactly where she lives. So um, I don't know if I'm gonna try to figure that out, ask her or what, but um, I don't know. Like, I'm glad we haven't really started the whole like, what do you do for work kind of conversation. It's kind of more like, where have you been? Where have you traveled? You know, what are you up to when you're not traveling, kind of thing. Um, I think I don't really have a lot to go by, honestly, but I guess the goal right now is to meet and or try to see if or when we can meet, and if we're able to meet, if she's um like able to manage that. Sometimes I find it weird, not with this person because I don't know her at all, really. Um, but sometimes I do find it weird when there's certain people that might have a little hard of a time trying to, um, what do you call it? Like, how do I say it? Like a hard time with like making and keeping schedules, but then you see that they're able to like travel and go on trips, and it's like that seems like it takes a lot more effort than like meeting up at a bar, meeting up at a local bar. It's like it always kind of like confuses me when people are able to schedule to go out of town or out of the country or out of the state, and they they can't schedule to like just meet up and do casual stuff. It's like I know a few people like that who I see that they're always out like traveling, and then it's like, oh, but trying to remember how to make local plans, it can be a little challenging sometimes with people. But that's just kind of a funny thing, because I kind of wonder when I meet people who travel, like, are you like an organized traveler, or are you kind of like more chaotic and like you're just like impulsively getting tickets to stuff, um, and can't really like manage a schedule. Uh, but it's pretty cool. Um, just to talk to somebody online, even if it's not, I don't know, if it's not like you know a long term thing yet. It's been maybe like a week, um, but I'm just trying to get a feel by this weekend, kind of what as far as her response is, kind of how she seems. Um, she seems sociable enough. I actually wasn't gonna respond today. I was gonna give it like a weekend kind of off. Um, but I guess she messaged me about like talking by text, so I was like, well, I don't want to like put that off for a couple days, you know. Um, and so I basically just messaged her that through that method. We'll see if we hear back. I I don't know if I'm really too invested yet. Like, we haven't gotten into too much depth of conversations. It's just been kind of like, where have you lived? What do you like? I like your pictures. Where are they at? Kind of, where have you been? What kind of stuff do you do? Just a general vibe for like cool places, cool stuff. What do you do for these holidays, or are you doing something, or do you usually do something with friends or family? Like, how do you celebrate, if you celebrate, or do you have other holidays? Um, we didn't get too deep into that. I would have loved to, but like, we didn't get too deep into it. So I don't know. It would be cool to just like talk on the phone, but I don't really want to initiate that. I don't. I'd almost rather meet somebody in person than talk to them on the phone. Um, Even if it is a little more stressful, I'd almost rather do that just because it's like I feel like a phone call is kind of one extra step. To me, it's like one extra step between that doesn't really need to be there because I feel like for me anyways, it might be more opportunity to get in my head about like how things are going or whatever. And some people's tones over the phone, you can't really get a good vibe. And like Zoom and stuff like that kind of stresses me out because it's like I can't really just take a Zoom call anywhere, you know, like if there's like a data or Wi-Fi issue or something, um, like I might want more space than being in the house, like on a Zoom and on my computer, you know. I need more space to talk to people sometimes on the phone, even if we're not really talking about anything in particular. I don't like that, the houses where I've lived have such thin walls that you can't really talk on the phone. When I'm on the phone, I use earbuds, and so I kind of talk louder too. It's kind of one of those things like you can't hear yourself, and so you talk louder, and then it's like you're basically talking pretty loud. Like I talk pretty loud on the phone. My whole family kind of talks pretty loud on the phone. Um, and so it's kind of hard to just like not talk loud. um, but yeah, that's basically all I've been up to on the social end. I'm trying to go out Sundays to bars. Saturday nights are a little crazy. I feel like Sundays are pretty cool because they're kind of more casual. People are like ending the weekend, but they're coming into a new week. Um, and I don't know. There doesn't really have to be a lot of depth. Like, I don't need there to be like a whole lot of depth. As long as there's like a little bit of movement in different areas, I'm fine with that. Like, um, some of it I can make happen myself, and other things it's kind of like let's see where things go with other people. But I wasn't necessarily trying to meet somebody in LA, but I'm in LA, so I don't want to like make it too complicated on myself and have everybody that I know that I want to meet up with being in San Diego. Like that's too far. Um, but mm, let me finish this tea. It's not warm at all anymore. But yeah, um, dude, I was reading through these old journal entries. I'm probably gonna continue reading through them today, but I was reading through them, and it's so interesting. Like some of them, it's like when I've met certain people in my life, or like a certain person that I kind of had a crush on, or was kind of like, I don't know. There was something that where I was like mentioning something I said to this lady that I was I was pretty into her, but maybe I wasn't like, too honest with myself about it at first. I was kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of into her, but I was like, but we're friends, and I don't really want to go some other direction with her. But she was great. Um, it was kind of funny, like, you know, like some of my first interactions with certain people, how I was like, oh, like I texted this person that I just met about like this thing or whatever, and just kind of like trying to like figure out what was going on there. If like I was like some people that I'm even friends with now, to this day, and this was back in like 2016, and I'm like talking about like the new process of like meeting people, like a guy that I met, and then some other guy that I was kind of missing, um, in LA, that I was kind of like, I really want to talk to this person. Um, Friends, but and then there was this other person that I was saying, like that lady that I met, and I was talking about a comment that I made to her. Um, I don't even know if I should say it. I'll say it. Maybe I'll say it. Cause she was. I don't remember what the context was, cause I didn't write it down, and I don't even remember this conversation. But I don't know if it was by text or in person. How she was saying like, don't, like, I don't know. She was saying to like pray for her for something. I don't know what the topic was, and I made some comment somewhere along the lines of, if everything I prayed for you came true, then your life would be like perfect right now, or something like that. Like some kind of. I'm like, whoa. They're like, what was I saying? But I don't know why I put it in this journal that that's what I wrote. I'm like, that's what I said. And then I guess she commented back, or made some comment back of like, why did you say it in the past tense kind of thing? And I'm like, wait, what? Like, what did I say? What was I saying? Like, I think I know what I meant, and the context and everything is off, so it's kind of hard to really be like, um, to really know like exactly what that conversation was about. But I guess she had something going on, and she asked me to pray for her about it, and then I made that comment about basically trying to say that I hope everything comes comes true, as far as like what you need for your prayers kind of thing. But the way I said it was more like, I don't know. I don't know why I said it that way. Like, I do know why I said it that way, because that's kind of how I meant it. But I don't. That's kind of a weird thing to say. I don't know. But I'm known for saying weird things. I'm just like, if that's what I'm thinking, you know, that's what I'm gonna say sometimes. And that's one of those occasions. I don't know if that is, you know, captured by text somewhere, or if I told her this in person. I don't think I would have said that in person. I think it was probably by some kind of messaging of some sort, either on Facebook or texting or something. But it's just kind of fun to go back. Well, not, I don't know, it's a little depressing too. But it's kind of fun to go back through this old journal and be like, what was I thinking? Like, so, and it's kind of weird. Like, as much as I talk about how crazy these this these jobs were, I'm like, I'm not that many pages in. This is like 8 years ago of stuff, and it wasn't every day, but it starts near January of 2016, and I'm just like, I don't know how many times I was already crying by that point, of the times I wrote down, of times I was crying at work, and I'm just like, no wonder. Like, it's weird in my head. I don't remember this. I don't remember. I remember specific things. So when I'm reading it, some of it. It's not like direct client information, but some of it is, and I'm like, whoa, I do not remember like having a client that was talking about this or about that. And some of it I wrote down. It's just so much that I'm just like, I don't even want to read some of it. I'm like, some of it's not really, you know, I almost, not that I can't read it, but just like, it's not really topics that I'm gravitating towards right now. Like, I'm not really trying to gravitate towards like trauma stories and stuff like that. I'm trying to have like an upbeat weekend and like creative weekend, and I'm like, man, I don't like my own writings are depressing me. I don't want to read them. But I'm kind of skipping through some of the stuff that's a little more, you know, on the negative end. But I definitely had a lot of stressors and depression and just like it's weird because one of these stories was something that's still even bothering me 8 years later today, where it was like one of my leads, I guess there was like a young lady and a young man, and the lady needed, we were calling an ambulance or paramedics for her, but she was like okay. She wasn't like unable to walk or anything. She was just having some physical symptoms. And we were there for like over an hour. I don't think she was even my client. Somebody wanted to go to lunch or take a break, and they had me watching their client. And then I guess the boyfriend or husband was in the waiting room, and he had like a bike, like one of those like stump bike types of bikes, but kind of like a low rider looking bike. And the lady asked, can she go to the bathroom? And so I said yes. And then she goes to the bathroom, and she left. Like, I guess she, the main door was right by that indoor bathroom door, and she came out of the bathroom and then like left out of that door. And so, um, yeah, she came out and then left, and so, um, um, yeah, and then that lead came, and she was kind of like sarcastically upset, but I remember her kind of like taking me by the shoulders and kind of like she was like shaking me a little bit. It was kind of like, "Where do you like? You let her leave." But she was kind of being like sarcastic, but I was still like, I did not like that. I was like, so basically, I had this whole journal entry where I was like going off about that, and I was just like, not cool. Um, but I know she was doing it in a joking way, but just with all the stuff that came with it, it was not an easy job. And I'm like, I don't even know how I was dealing with days like that, and just going into work day after day. Like even the amount of stuff I wrote about that job wasn't even that much of what was going on. It was just like major points for whatever was going on during that time. And even going back and reading it, and I'm like, I can't imagine, that this was a day at work. Like, I can't imagine that this was a day at work, that like I was talking to this person about this and that person about this, and I'm like, I just can't imagine. Like, looking back at it, I'm like, no wonder, no wonder, I got to a place where my health was suffering, for doing that for so many years. Like, no wonder, um, and I didn't realize how much I was crying at work. Like, it's like, dude, I don't know, um, like, cause I don't remember doing that too often, like, but I mean, if this is back then and there's already a couple times already in there, I'm like, dang, man, like, and like writing about like how I felt in the morning and like not having any money for like whatever I was spending, I guess the last of some of my money on like a Big Mac or something. Like, what the heck? What is going on? Like, like what was going on back then? Like, it doesn't even sound like the same person. Like, it like, literally, it does not sound like. I'm glad I wrote it down because I would not have remembered a lot of this stuff. But it's interesting, like, with the people I've met along the way, that, like, some of them pop up in these journal entries. It's just kind of funny to see kind of what I thought about some people I met, like, early on. Um, and I don't even remember writing about them. I don't remember writing about them at all. Um, I don't even remember like most of these journal entries, and I didn't even know that it was that long ago that I was writing in this journal. I just was looking for. I have specific journals for specific things, and I was kind of wanting to write something in this other specific journal that I couldn't find. And so I went and was looking for space in this journal because I knew it was like this moleskin journal, uh, kind of paperback thin one, and I went to write in it, and I was like, oh, there's not really paper. um it's like I had some kind of budget written out on the back, and there's like one page between that budget and the last entry I did. When did I write the last one? The last entry I did was November 22 of 2023. So it would have been like a year ago yesterday. And so yesterday I did write an entry in a different hardcover journal. That's the newer one, but this one's pretty much finished out. The Moleskine one is pretty much finished out, so I'm kind of trying to go back and read through it. End of the year I try to do like a lot of reflective stuff, and I don't want to leave it all up to like New Year's Eve or whatever. It's like I'm starting kind of early, but I have set some health goals as far as remaining, tracking the stuff I was already tracking. I get the Habit new app that is from the health group that I was in, so I can track everything still through there. And I'm gonna keep tracking. I think I want to keep tracking through the next year, like end of year to end of year. When I go back and look through, what I've done, as far as like exercising and things, I tracked it for like 50 weeks so far, I think. No, wait. They told us we started on December 15th, so we're just short of a year. A few weeks short of a year. So, I'm just kind of, trying to figure things out within that, within that scope of things. But, it's just interesting having some social, some, like, social things to write about. But we'll see. I don't really know. I don't know necessarily what the game plan is. Just to read more. Even if it's my own stuff. I've been writing journals for like ages at this point. So just going back through some of them, it's kind of fascinating, honestly. It's like, who was this person? But yeah, I don't think I was like a daily journaler. Maybe at one point, but not lately. So that's probably what I'm doing for my Saturday morning. Otherwise, that's about it for now. I will keep you guys posted if there's any more things about, I guess, any other updates in any other areas of any other topics. But I have been laying low and not really doing way too much. Trying to take it easy, keep it simple. Alright. That's it for now. Thanks for listening.